Well, there's been another bunch of crazy twists in the investigation into President Trump's alleged ties to Russia. A former Bush administration ethics lawyer now calling on FBI Director Christopher Wray to tell President Trump and other Republicans to stop targeting his agency or resign. Florida Republican Congressman Francis Rooney told MSNBC that the heads of agencies like the FBI and DOJ should, quote, purge employees they feel could be politically motivated. The calls for resignations and purges come after President Trump yesterday went on the offensive, claiming the FBI was tainted, accusing the agency of using the infamous dirty dossier to discredit his campaign. And he alleged that Hillary Clinton was behind the whole thing. So should the head of the FBI consider resigning? What could this mean for the Mueller investigation? Let me bring in my nuclear-powered party panel from the Greg Gutfeld show, where she operates as a correspondent. Katherine Timpf is here tonight, along with comedian Joe DeVito and former State Department spokesperson and Fox News contributor Marie Harf, also here. Welcome, everyone.
Yay.
So, Kat, I want to talk a little bit about this because a lot of people say that it's the deep state at work, and people who burrow into government jobs for oftentimes decades, they're the ones who are most problematic because they see the president as the biggest threat to their silent power.
Right, and he said in the interview that it was kind of the deep state, which I don't understand how you're kind of
Congressman
the deep
Rooney.
state. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't really get that's like kind of a traitor or kind of a pregnant. Yeah. Right. But I think in general you should kind of steer clear of using the phrase deep state because you basically place a tinfoil hat on your own head when you do so, even though there are legitimate concerns here. I think the fact that Strzok was sending these messages proves that there was a bias. And the fact that he works in HR now is pretty hilarious when he was sending text messages to his coworker mistress that kind of proves his impartiality.
Telling people not to send certain text messages on
he's probably like a how to get away with it HR guy. Like, listen, use one of these secret messaging apps with your work lovers. It's pretty ridiculous. But I think we can't take it too far in the other direction, saying that everybody's got to go or that Mueller's got to be fired or something like that. I think we need to take it on a
I don't know, man. Joe DeVito says we got a clean house. You like the purge.
We do. You know, a great app name for that would be Traitor, with none of the vowels in it, just TRTR. Good one.
Or go register it.
I will. I think what we need to do is, we do need a purge. We do need to clean out the Aegean stables and run all that water through there and clean all this crap out. These people have been accumulating there. They're unaccountable. They're unelected. And there is a deep state that's monkeying around. Now, I'm not saying the president he's certainly not above criticism, but we don't know what these people are doing. If there's
But who do you replace everyone at the FBI and CIA with?
Well, and as someone who's part of that, as someone,
how do you start over?
I
mean, they say the same thing about Congress, like start over. It's like, yeah, but who do you put in there? Roy
someone
Moore?
who's never actually worked in government. And
I haven't, and I'm proud of that.
Well, I've worked in federal government for 10 years as part of that bureaucracy, and bureaucracy does a lot of really good things, like tracking terrorists, taking our enemies off of the battlefield, paying your Social Security check,
spying on Americans.
So to take it to a negative place, but look.
They'll take it to a realistic place. It's not all sunshine and unicorns, Marie.
No, but it's also not all people out to destroy the president. And using words like purge are very loaded.
That's irresponsible. I agree.
It's very irresponsible. There are patriotic men and women who work at the FBI. A few bad apples should not taint the entire organization. I don't think that that's fair. And
I think I'm going to come up with a compromise between you two, and I'm going to use a phrase that Katie Pavlich used today when we were both on Outnumbered. It's boots versus suits. It's people who, the boots are the people, the men and women who work hard, the investigators who do the day-to-day slog, who truly are patriotic, who work their asses off, and the military, they're the warriors, and the suits are the ones, the very few in the highest echelons of these agencies who really get to sculpt the culture and the outcomes. And when those people are biased, that's when it's incredibly dangerous, because that's when, unfortunately, the trickle-down effect is really felt in every layer of the pyramid. All right, well, now, meantime, a big political battle brewing for 2018, and it's pitting the two most powerful Republican lawmakers against each other. According to Politico, House Speaker Paul Ryan and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell have completely different views on entitlement reform. Ryan reportedly wants to take an axe to federal programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and welfare, and he apparently feels he has the momentum to do just that after passing tax cuts. Mitch McConnell, on the other hand, reportedly said entitlement reform ain't happening, fearing it's too risky in a midterm election year. So will Washington ever have the courage to shrink the federal government? Kat, what I think is so incredibly necessary is for these legislators to operate as though they don't care if they're reelected And if they actually did that, it would certainly benefit the American people. Entitlements are so cumbersome to the point of actually being unfair to those they claim to help.
Right. They're not really compassionate when there's a system that keeps you dependent on welfare rather than allowing for work opportunities. And I don't know what the Republican Party is anymore. I can't stand it if people say, yeah, the Republican Party is the fiscally conservative party. No, it isn't, because even aside from all the overspending on defense, they're too afraid to cut spending even in domestic areas. They're more likely to pass this huge infrastructure spending bill than they are to actually cut entitlements. They just did tax cuts without spending cuts. I will not be able to handle it if Mitch McConnell ever says anything about being fiscally conservative, because they don't care about the national debt. They don't care about budgets. They just want to spend money just like Democrats do.
Yeah, and they never get it to the people who really need it. That's the problems with these programs that claim to help people, is those who are the most vulnerable are always the last ones in line when you allow too many people to line up.
Yeah, well, the government becomes a middleman that takes their vig out of it. And these are not safety nets. These are spider webs. We're trapped in them. They're not helping out the people who need the help. Otherwise, you wouldn't have generations of families on public assistance.
Yeah.
And the problem is we keep arguing over what is the better way to spend money we don't have. And that's why you don't want the government being in charge of taking people's resources and
all they're doing is buying votes. I mean, that's the unfortunate reality.
They don't do a good job with it.
And Marie, it may be jaded, but there is too much risk avoidance, and there's not enough actual helping. All they're doing is beefing up programs in their own districts, going back and buying votes.
Well, I think that's a pretty cynical view, and some of that may be true.
Cynical or realistic?
That's what they said, though. That's what he flat out said. Can't do it in an election year.
Yeah, but that's exactly the point.
What he said.
Yeah, no, but that's what he's saying.
It's not about
we can't lose races. We have to promise people things we can't afford. We have to buy everyone a pony so they like us.
Medicaid and Medicare is not buying people ponies. It's helping them get health insurance. They're not perfect programs, and they need reform. But when we just say throw the baby out with the bathwater, that's also not a good strategy. So I think that, Kat is absolutely right. The Republican Party has no idea what it is at the moment. Yeah. Paul Ryan wants to focus on entitlements. Mitch McConnell, who will very soon, after Doug Jones gets sworn in, have a very slim majority in the Senate, it will be hard for him to do anything. And the infrastructure bill is so shocking to me because there is no way to pay for it.
That's absolutely right.
It is, and they're
spoken like a true Republican.
And they're proposing this huge increase, blowing through the budget.
I am equally disgusted, Marie.
In place.
Yes.
Stunning.
It is stunning. No one has any sort of fiscal restraint. That's not cynical. That is the truth. And the truth hurts so good. All right, the party panel returns a little bit later. First up, however, Christmas is a time for giving. But outspoken San Antonio Spurs coach Greg Popovich says rich people don't give enough to charities. Ed Stringham proves why Coach Pop is all wrong. It's after the break. Stay here. Speaking of security, Disney updating its policies at several resorts at Walt Disney World in Orlando. We're told 3 hotels are ditching the do not disturb signs and replacing them with room occupied signs. Employees will be required to check inside rooms at least once a day. It's been reported the tightened security measure is a response to the Las Vegas massacre, where 58 people were killed earlier this year, though Disney has yet to confirm that correlation. So does Mickey have our best interest at heart, or is this an invasion of privacy just plain goofy? The party panel returns. Here they are, Katherine Timpf, Joe DeVito, and Marie Harf. Marie, is this the best way to handle security post-Las Vegas tragedy?
Well, it sort of seems like we're always trying to fight the last war, right? I mean, we take our shoes off at airports because one guy tried to light his shoes on fire and didn't even succeed.
I take my underwear off at the airport because the underwear bomber.
Well, that's a personal choice.
Oh, really?
That I'm sure TSA appreciates.
Oh, I thought that was...
But, I think after Las Vegas, big hotels and resorts are trying to figure out ways they could have prevented it. Yeah. I think this seems like possibly a good idea. There's a whole other host of things we should talk about, like guns, but not even going to go there today. I think it's an interesting way to try and get at this problem. Someone shouldn't be able to hole up in a hotel room for 2 weeks, keep bringing in
cache of weapons,
and
nothing to see here. Are they going to go through our belongings? If I have a giant bag and they're worried that I might have something.
It's gun-shaped. You know, your unmentionables, your fine washables.
They're all at the airport.
I've never stayed at a hotel where they honored the Do Not Disturb sign. I have to put chairs up under the, like it's Night of the Living Dead with them trying to come in. But I like the Do Not Disturb. I don't like to be bothered.
I don't like to be bothered. When I'm embalming in the bathtub, I don't need
Can't you just lock the bolt, though? And then
I guess you could.
I don't know.
They can still see in there.
They can, absolutely. No, they've got all sorts of nudie vision.
Yeah, it's terrible. I think this is the worst thing to ever happen because Disneyland is already so bad. Yeah. Now you got to worry about Mickey just busting into your room whenever he damn well pleases.
Only if they were dressed like Mickey, maybe they could.
That would be kind of hot. I mean, and maybe that'll be the next phase, like Disney Vegas. That will be
an add-on. This is like not going to make anyone any safer either. It's security theater.
All right,
if anyone has a bunch of guns anyways, and they're like a monster maniac with a bunch of guns, I don't think this is going to stop them.
Speaking of maniacs, if you're an iPhone user and you want to throw it off a cliff because it's so slow, that's not your fault or your imagination. The problem comes directly from Apple. The tech giant facing 2 lawsuits from users claiming their iPhones are slow. Software updates force old phones to stop working properly in order to urge customers to buy the latest model, iPhone X. Apple released a statement admitting they do slow down older iPhones to keep the batteries from dying. But is this really just a big tech company screwing its own loyal users? That's what I think. I think Apple knows we're all going to buy their phones. My phone is doing also, it's just throwing up apps. They all open at once for no reason. I'm not looking at Netflix.
Yeah, I think so too, although I don't ever really update my phone because I'm never off of it long enough.
She's an iPhone 3.
I have to do too much texting, and if I'm updating it, then I can't send people 30 messages in a row.
Joe?
I think it's a scam because you think of all the notifications you get sent, and they act like, oh no, we're just trying to save battery life, so you don't have to worry about all that bothersome texting and message sending.
Why would you want to send email?
Yeah, I want to get
tacky.
Should get the jitterbug phone for older people that jabs you and takes your blood sugar while you're on it. This shows what do we actually own?
Oh, we have 10 seconds, Marie.
This plays into every Big Brother theory that you have, and I think Apple, this is. As a loyal iPhone user, this is very annoying.
It is disconcerting.
I'll join this lawsuit.
Maria's a secret libertarian. I'll take all of it. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Beautifully done. Coming up, you want more proof of why we should get rid of bloated federal agencies like the FDA? Wait till you hear how long it takes them to get unsafe food off the shelves. Dr. Mark Siegel joins me in moments.